Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. And today, obviously, you know what the thumbnail, the title, the me just being here, especially the fact that I haven't posted in a little bit. I've been pretty consistent, so I kind of just say that this is basically my normal schedule over here. But just lately, I've been pretty busy with work, everything like that, and I've just been cooking up combos. I've been trying to get the cards for the combos and everything like that. So if you guys are missing those combos, just like random things I just put together that just somehow work, those will be coming back pretty soon. I have basically 3 ideas for you guys, so be on the lookout for that and some more YouTube shorts basically centered around Dark Magician. And speaking of Dark Magician, is Dark Magician somewhat playable in Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis? Obviously, when it comes to playing in the TCG, for example, right? This deck is just not playable whatsoever, right? Especially trying to keep up with the power of the meta as well. You be like thinking to yourself, oh, Primite cards and Juice format can help you out with that if you're playing Blue Eyes. And people are even saying Blue Eyes is not even a good deck right here too. It's like playing Dark Magician in the TCG right now is basically playing four pieces of Exodia. You're missing something. Absolutely, you are, because ever since I touched the new Dark Magician support cards, I cannot go back to playing without it, bro. So basically, TCG, I'm playing whatever the hell. I'm just having a good time with those decks, and I'm just waiting very little by little, slowly, just dreading my soul for the point. I'm just waiting for Konami to drop these damn cards already. Yo, Konami, hurry up with this shit. But Genesys format. If you guys don't know what Genesys format is, you're living under a rock. And I'm talking to you, Oscar, bro. Yo, get your reps in, bro. We got regionals coming up, bro. Okay? Yeah, but obviously everyone knows the 100-point system. This is the standard format for basically any Konami sanctioned event, especially the fact that we're going to be getting a YCS in 2026, basically just on the Genesis format stuff, and even on side events as well, that we are going to be getting Genesis side events as well, just basically kind of like maybe testing the grounds of it, and the fact that you do get some insane prize support in here as well. So 100 points. 100 points is definitely not enough, especially when it comes to like Dark Magician, and you'll see why in a second here. But let's just go over here, right? We have a fat stack of cards over here. We're just gonna probably just go through everything, just talk about everything that we have over here. I just basically took apart my Primate Azamina Dark Magician deck, and I'm just like putting those cards in a pile over here because like those are probably some of the cards that you would even consider playing if you're deciding on playing some Dark Magician in Genesis format. And I took a couple other cards as well, and I just laid it all out here, and I'm just gonna explain each of these cards and what do they do, like how much they cost as well. Like I'm gonna be referring to these cards as money, okay? Because like it's basically dollars. You're basically spending some money here in order to play this deck. So you know what? Let's just get straight into it, right? Okay. Before we even go into the Dark Magician cards, the fact that Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon over here is $100. Bro, I'm not talking about dollars. I mean, this is a Starlight, so it might be worth a little bit more than $100. But no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Okay, so obviously, I said that the standard for any of the decks that are gonna go into the Konami sanctioned event is 100 points, is $100, right? And the fact that Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon is $100, you're basically left with two options. Basically, the 1% one and the 99% one over here. The 1% one is basically building a Dark Magician deck with centered around of a whole bunch of cards that are worth $0, not even a single penny, and basically putting all $100 into just this one copy of Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon. It's just the fact that if you do that, you're gonna get outed so easily by a card that's not even a penny either. And I'm talking about cards like Kaijus. Like if you put more than one monster on the board, you also have to worry about Lava Golem, Raw Spear Mode. Those cards are not a single dime, not a single penny. So basically, those cards outing this very easily, and the fact that none of your other cards are worth anything else either, your opponent is easily able to tell, hey, this is their only card over here that's actually worth something. I have almost nothing else to worry about here. So and what I meant by the 99% and the 1% option here, the 99% option, we're not playing this card. We can't play this card whatsoever. And it's also due to the fact that we are going to be getting like constant updates on these lists as well. So basically, whenever like a new set comes out, Konami basically has to adjust those points accordingly to whatever the power level of the card is. We basically just got one yesterday of some of the new canine cards that are the new canine monster that's going to be coming in here is on this list right now. And the fact that they did forget to put cards in here like Joko and other cards like that, those cards are in here now. And the fact that people were crafting like K9 VS to be one of the best decks in here, not anymore. That deck's expensive now. So we have, yeah, Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon. No. We ain't doing that. But we do have access to some of the other Dark Magician like fusions over here, and some of the other like fusions that are not really Dark Magician focused, but you are able to play these cards in here as well. These cards are not worth a single dime. Is like $0 over here. So maybe even playing like a strategy that are like focused around these cards over here, it's possible. But from what I'm thinking and from whatever data that I got so far, I don't think so. It's cool and all, but I just need to dig in a little bit more for sure, right? So that's gonna be it with those Dark Magician fusion monsters, right? And let's go into the Dark Magician engine now, right? We basically have the entire Dark Magician engine over here, basically worth nothing. You are able to play as many of the Dark Magician cards as you want possible without spending a single dime over here. And this is basically all the cards you would even consider as well. We're not even talking about any of the bad cards either, like Dark Magic Inheritance. That card has potential, or had, or maybe has, but it ain't gonna be considered in here. Absolutely not. Um, we could play like a main deck control type of deck where we kind of go into the Bond and the Dark Burning Magic, but these cards are bricks. You really don't want to see them all that much in your hand. But it's something to consider as well. The secrets, obviously, once again, as I mentioned, these cards are not worth a dime, but maybe even go into like a fusion focused strategy. But like some of the more powerful fusion monsters like Guardian Chimera is worth $33. And we ain't trying to like spend points on things like that, especially that when it comes to Dark Magician, you're not really going into your fusions as much. So you basically kind of have to stick with what you have here, that that these cards that are gonna come up as well. So like I'm trying my best to avoid those as well. But as of right now, like I have a strategy, and that is mainly due to a video that I saw basically just yesterday. And when I get to those cards, I'll definitely show you guys as well. But um I'm gonna refer to a video that I saw a couple months ago, and I'm pretty sure you guys do remember Jesse Cotton's Dark Magician list when the new Primite cards came out, when Ether Barrel came out, right? Jesse Cotton was playing a very, very weird version of Dark Magician that none of us really expected, right? And that's basically just playing with just your main deck. He had no Dragoon in there, and basically he had a whole bunch of like random cards in this extra deck. Like we had like IP Masquerena, we had Hermetic Seals, we had like the rank 7 monsters as well, because like he was playing double copies of Dark Magician and everything like that. But the thing about it is that he was playing Triple Salvation, Triple Circle, the One Eternal Soul, and the Triple Soul Servant, which are obviously in probably Genesys format. Like these are probably like some of your best cards in here as well, like just due to the fact that you do have some sort of a main deck strategy over here, whatever you have going on, right? So these cards might mainly make their way into the main deck though. So that's it is a very big possibility, especially if we build our deck the way how I'm thinking we do, right? So other cards, Tamaya's is a body. It definitely is. It's not worth a single thing. That's also good as well. But it's just the fact that our fusions are not really. I don't think the fusions are gonna really come up all that much. So like Tamaya's cool card, everything like that. But like I don't think that we would even consider a card like this in Genesys format as of right now, because like this is just like my first take into it, like with only like basically one video that I saw that was pretty cool. It was something that it was something similar to what I was thinking of as well, because the fact that Genesys format, like these, like a lot of the extra deck cards are worth something. And what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to like just get a whole bunch of the cards that are just not worth anything and just put those cards in first and then worry about spending the money after. So that's definitely something for sure. Mahad, hard brick, especially in a deck like this, where we're trying to do like a main deck control. Like Mahad is good into like those like fusion decks, like especially if you're trying to go into like Albion the Sanctifier Dragon to like a dragon lock your opponent in Dark Magician. um it's just not worth it to me. Cool card though. Maybe would explore it in the future, but not now, right? So some obvious cards over here. We have Magician's Souls, and we have Magician's Rod over here. Obviously, these are like your main cards that you would play in Dark Magician. Like obviously, Magician's Rod is your searcher, and then your Magician's Souls are your like your extender. Like these help you get your plays going as well. And then obviously Triple Illusion of Chaos as well, which was help you search out these cards as well. So as I'm probably am going to be playing these cards or like a combination of certain ratios or something like that, we have to think about one thing. We are in Genesys format. There are no such thing as pendulum or link monsters, mainly pointing towards the link monsters, right? So the fact that sometimes we would have a Rod and a Magician's Souls on our side of the field, we just can't link these cards off. We just can't really get rid of these bodies all that easily. So like it's just the fact that you are over here clogging up some of your main monster zones, and you can't really do anything with these cards right now. So that's something that you really do have to be careful with when you're trying to play a deck like this. Is the fact that you have to basically use these monster zones like as efficiently as smart as you can, because like maybe there's a point where like especially if I have another engine in here that kind of does clog up some monster zones. Like you might run out of monster zones. Like you may find yourself in a pickle, as my fiance would say sometimes, into trying to play around some of these boards over here. So these cards are great. These cards are going to be making the cut for sure when it comes to a Dark Magician Genesis deck. But the fact that, as I mentioned, these cards will be maybe clogging up some of your zones sometimes, especially the fact that we don't have an extra monster zone. We don't have any pendulum zones. We don't have to worry about pendulum zones, but we don't have that extra monster zone. We don't have link monsters. So there is a high possibility that these cards will clog up your zones um quite often if you do go into these cards quite often, if you especially if you play like Triple Magician Souls or something like that, right? So that's something to think about for sure. Illusion of Chaos, obviously play this card at 3. There is a possibility that you might see Droll in here, especially the fact that Konami just lowered the cost of Droll from 7 to 5. And people might see that they can just they could just spend $15 into just playing triple Droll in like in the side deck, probably, because like once again you're playing this format as if you're playing regular Yu-Gi-Oh, but you're basically paying points, paying money. I just like to call it money into like trying to like build your deck very efficiently. So there's a very high possibility that you might see these cards like Droll, Valor, um Ogre, things like that. So those are cards that you do have to be careful of. Honestly, if I were to have any of these cards and I activate any of the effects and they ogre me, I'm kind of fine with that, to be honest with you, because like the effect still resolves and you're clearing out my monster zone. So I'll take that any day of the week. Okay. I only pulled out 2 Dark Magician here, mainly due to the fact that a lot of the Dark Magician decks that I built back then played 2 copies of Dark Magician. Do I play 2 copies of Dark Magician here? I'm trying not to, but with some of the other cards that I'm playing 1 copy of Dark Magician seems to be way more than enough, right? And then Dark Magician Girl, right? How bad do we really need the Dark Magician Girl, right? Probably the one thing that I can really think of. Dark Magician Souls dumps the Dark Magician Girl, Soul Servant to get like 2 draws obvious your obvious simple things, right? Especially if you play like Magician Salvation as well. Reviving your Dark Magician gets you Dark Magician Girl, and especially the fact if you do want to play um your bonds between teacher and student package to go into the Dark Burning Magic, that's totally up to you. Like I said, basically all the cards that I showed you here, they are all free. You don't have to spend a single dime on playing any of these cards when it comes to Genesys format. So um all those cards are up for consideration, everything like that. So I will definitely show you a deck profile as well if you guys are interested in a Genesis $100 challenge Dark Magician deck. So before we get into like the other engines, right? Non-engine. Definitely non-engine is gonna be something like you really do have to decide. You just can't slam 18 hand traps into your deck anymore and just basically say, hey, there's my deck right there. No, you just can't do that. Like we have we have the Bestial monsters like actually costing points. Okay, like we have cards, Bestial Baldric, $30. Bestial Druid Swarm, we have it at $30. Bestial Magnuma, $33. They basically wanted to put the salt on the wound real quick. They wanted us to put orange juice on our paper cut real quick, just to basically show you that Bestial Magnuma is $3 extra. It's poverty out here. Yeah. So these cards will not see play whatsoever, unless if your deck can really play it, or you're just really thinking about it. But like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like this just does not seem worth it to me whatsoever, right? Fualos is only worth 7 points. But how often are people gonna really use their extra decks, right? And that might be a really dumb question for me to ask as well. But like, and there are just obviously decks out there that are able to use the extra deck like very efficiently without really needing a single link or pendulum monster. A lot of people probably might not even play Ash whatsoever because Ash is $15. I don't want to pay $45 for just triple copies of Ash Blossom. Absolutely not. Valor is a very big option that I might consider on playing because it's only worth $7. Like, and especially the fact that these are just negation worthy as well. Like you're just able to just basically just have a free have a hand trap that a lot of people might not even play Call by the Grave to, because once again, Call by the Grave, I'm looking over here, Call by the Grave is worth $20. So like, are people really going to spend $20 on like a single copy of Call by the Grave? Are people going to spend $60 on playing triple copies of Call by the Grave? I really doubt it. So like these single interaction hand traps as well is just like really good. Ogre, I'm expecting to see everywhere because of the fact that this card is only worth $5. And basically having $15 just for triple copies of Ghost Ogre is really big, especially the fact that I mentioned that there are going to be like those decks that are able to still go into the extra deck for basically free, like Exo Sister, Bell. We don't know what graveyard center strategies they're going to be yet. I have not really done as much research as much as I would hope so. But there's a possibility that Ghost Bell could be worth considering. Ghost Bell is definitely worth something. So let me check real quick. Okay, Ghost Bell is worth $5 actually. So like maybe we can probably consider this as a side deck option. And then another card that might not really see as much play as we probably would have liked to. Infinite Impermanence. I'm looking right over here. Infinite Impermanence is only 13. That's not bad, but like that's kind of pretty big. Especially the fact that the way how I'm looking at this, anything worth over $10 that I would have to play more than one copy of is definitely something that is pretty big. Like it's a big commitment for to do so. So like Crossout. I don't even know how much Crossout worth. How much Crossout worth? Crossout Designator is worth 10. But here's the thing about Crossout as well. We are in money format. And basically playing Crossout is just such a weird decision to do because of the fact that you're not really going to be playing against like the same non-engine as you would do in the TCG. You would be playing against some weird stuff, right? And especially the fact that if we have a meta, right, which most likely we will, especially like when it comes to like these Konami sanctioned events. Like Crossout might or might not see play, but I just really doubt that this card will see any play whatsoever. So yeah, absolutely not. Here are the cards that we actually are considering in the deck for sure, right? Primite cards. So Ether Barrel is worth nothing. Drill Beam worth nothing. Primite Roar worth nothing. You are able to play all these cards in here for nothing. You don't have to spend a single dime on it. The only one you need to spend a dime on is Lordly Load, and that's 33. When it comes to a deck like this, I think if you're playing a normal monster strategy, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Dark Magician, any of those decks like that, you have to basically play some sort of an engine over here, and then you would just basically max out on everything else and then play only one copy of Lordly Load for sure, because like that just seems like the best move for you to do. Like normal summon Ether Barrel is still very strong. Like you are just able to set Lordly Load. Lordly Load is able to search for your Drill Beam over here. And hey, here's the thing. You may even have like a card like Primite Roar in your hand already. Set the Drill Beam. You don't even need to summon Dark Magician whatsoever. Like you could probably like keep it in your graveyard for something like that. Like if you're just doing like the Dark Magician triangle stuff with like Circle, Eternal Soul, summon it back, and then you already have like the Drill Beam in case you need to activate it earlier, just by revealing the Primite Roar or something like that, which is really cool. Definitely cool. But once again, as I mentioned before with the Rod and the Magician Souls, you basically have to just run the risk of just like leaving these cards in your field. Like the Primite Ether Barrel, you summon it, you can't link it off for a Blue Eyes Link 1 or something like that. You basically just have to keep it there. Just basically playing max amount of copies of Primite cards is just really good. No matter what normal monster strategy you're playing, like Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Dark Magician, you always basically are going to say to yourself, to me, I am going to be spending $33 to play one copy of Lordly Load and just max out on all the rest of the good Primite cards as well. So I think that these cards are definitely a staple in the Dark Magician deck right now for sure. And then the last engine over here. Now I got this. I thought about this before, but then I saw Team Samurai X1 actually play this engine over here. He basically posted a video yesterday of a tournament that him, Nesh, and Pac were doing, and basically it was just Genesys Format with just the three OGs: Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, and Red Eyes. And I saw him play the Regenesis package. I thought about these cards, especially the fact that I did not see a single Regenesis card except for Regenesis. Yeah. Being worth $33. But the fact that you still have access to triple copies of code as well, it's just so broken. It's just, why would you need to spend any more money on Regenesis cards when you just have access to code? Or you just basically have Regenesis cards, and you have cards like Dark Magician as well. You just basically need to control it, or you just basically need to reveal it in your hand in order to summon these cards out, which is way more than enough for you to just spam your board with Regenesis cards. And this is what I mean as well. The fact that this is not a deck that basically goes into its extra deck. Especially like if with just like Regenesis cards, Regenesis code locks you out of your extra deck as well. So that's something you really need to be careful with, because especially if you're gonna flood your board with cards like Magician's Rod, Ether Barrel, Magician Souls, you are basically leaving less space on your field for these Regenesis cards as well. And especially the fact that you may be like, oh, I have Circle Eternal Soul set, so I need to save a slot guaranteed for Dark Magician, which is also something else that you really kind of do need to think about as well. But good thing about these cards, which is like also really broken to me, is just the fact that you basically are tributing these cards, like in order to activate their effects. Tribute, now you have a free monster zone. Tribute, now you have two monster zones. Regenesis Sage, it doesn't tribute itself, but once again, it helps you tribute a card as well. Basically, this card just needs to send a Regenesis card. So basically, if you have extra copies of Archfiend in your hand, or if you have an Archfiend on your field that does nothing, basically, you're able to just go Sage Effect, send the Regenesis Archfiend to negate a card, and now you are clearing up your monster zone over here. And also a really good thing as well is the fact that you activate Circle, Eternal Soul, things like that. You're able to go Rod, tribute your Dark Magician that you just summoned back, and now you're also freeing yourself another monster zone here. So that's just definitely one thing that you really do need to be careful of when you're playing a deck like this, that you really are not going into your extra deck. You don't have links. You can't link cards away. So you just basically have to just play the smart game here, and not just playing against your opponent, but basically playing against yourself as well with clogging your monster zones, because once again, we have 5 monster zones only. We have 5 back rows only as well. So like, we do have a number of like spell and trap cards as well. We have the Regenesis Code, we have the Birth, we have the Dark Magical Circle, which is a continuous spell. We also have Eternal Soul as well, which is a continuous trap. So those cards are clogging up your spell and trap card zones. This is definitely just the idea that I'm kind of just like leaning towards right now when it comes to playing a Dark Magician deck in this Genesys format, because we're restricted. We only have $100, and just basically using Regenesis cards, using a lot of your Primite cards for free, using a lot of the viable Dark Magician cards in this limited format for no money whatsoever is really free for you. So now, with just considering what are you going to be playing for Dark Magician, what are you going to be playing for Regenesis, what are you going to be playing for your Primate cards as well, you only spent $33, which it's kind of, people just don't want to spend it on one card, but like, once again, is pretty mandatory for this version of the deck. But now you basically have $66 left to basically spend that money on whatever you want. And a lot of the Anon engine that I was mentioning before, they're $5, they're $7. Like, I would consider basically anything that is less than $10 to basically save the most amount of money you can in here, right? And also another thing as well, Solemn cards. We have a side deck. We have a side deck in here. So that's also something that you have to consider as well. Like, once as I mentioned before, Drone Lockbird, that's a side deck card. That only costs $5 now because of the new updates. There's just so much exploring that you can do with this type of format over here. And I will definitely be exploring more of this as well. So if you guys are actually interested in more Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis content, please let me know in the comments down below. Tell me what you think about this idea over here. Like, is there any recommendations that you would put into these type of decks over here? And I am hopefully trying to do a Genesis duel with one of my boys. For people in the Dark Magician community, you might know him pretty well as well. So that's gonna be coming up hopefully soon. Not this weekend, maybe next weekend or something like that. Something in the next month, hopefully. And then for you guys that I have been missing the Dark Magician combo stuff, with just me just picking up random cardboard and just trying to see, does these cards work together, that will be coming back soon as well. Once again, I have like 2 to 3 theories that I have in my head, and I am getting the cards as well that we're just trying to figure out. We're building some combos over here for sure. So if you guys are looking forward to that, let me know in the comments down below as well. And more YouTube shorts, everything like that, I'll be back. I'll be pretty consistent with you guys as well. So without further ado, I shall see ya in the next video. Peace.